In this video, I'm going to do a list of illnesses. I've known my family's causes and health issues for a long time, as well as some of my own. My neurological disorder is caused by my mother giving me an overdose. My stomach and esophagus damage is from my mother giving me pills and the extra Epicac. My brother's hyperthyroid comes from things like overstimulation of the thyroid, most likely from things maybe like steroids or overworking out or maybe creatine or even my fault when I was a young 15-year-old. Uh, yeah, I had Ritalin laying around as well. So we have a lot of stuff there that can mess up the thyroid. So yep, that would be the thyroid cause from the steroids and some other stuff. My father, his prostate must be worse from the drinking, knowing that if you have prostate cancer and you drink alcohol, it worsens the condition. He's also mixing benzos with alcohol that can cause the mind to be more forgetful. You might have trouble remembering thoughts. You might even forget what you did the night before when you drink and mix benzos at a certain age. On top of this, my father also might have more trouble driving at night or driving in general because he hasn't got used to driving at night or he hasn't taken care of his body while driving at night. Me, I also might have made my prostate worse with alcohol in my early 20s. Now, me, it's only a couple years, not 40. Also, here we go with my mother. My mother's death was caused by alcohol mixed with pills. She was mixing pills with alcohol. On top of this, coming home with liver failure with only 20% of her liver working and only being home for a couple hours and drinking, then going back in the emergency room and passing away, the drinking affected her there. As far as her mental illness goes, while she was hurting me and pilling me up, while people were allowing her to pop Vicodin, drink, move me around, and nobody was handling her mental illness, that affected her as well. So you have all those going on. Now, the pills I was taking that my mother was having me take was also affecting me in bad ways. Now, for me also, I caught hepatitis, most likely from being in dangerous situations like people's homes and at the shelter. But also, at the time, I did do one line of dope. But most likely it's from blood-to-blood transfer, and that would be the needle in the shelter. Just like people say, well, Zach, it's blood-to-blood transfer. Well, then I guess you could take the dope out of there. Because the blood-to-blood transfer was in the shelter and on somebody's floor, but I don't think the floor needle made it through my footwear. Even though it was like fabric shoes or sand. I remember it being like nothing. I think like nothing I was wearing, but I didn't remember getting pinched. So, but I did get pinched real bad at the shelter through a needle through somebody's backpack. After that happened, I just didn't give a crap. Okay. Who else has medical conditions by their own choices? Okay, here's one. My father's new wife has done a great thing by donating a kidney. But if you drink with only one kidney, that can cause a shorter lifespan. If you choose not to drink at all after giving up a kidney, you'll have more health for a longer period of time. So if you choose to drink, that's your choice. But expect there to be health issues down the line if you're going to give up a kidney and drink. That's a fact. Also, I was given Thorazine and Seroquel and Trazodone and Lamictal, and the only thing I asked the doctor for is to sleep and to help me with anxiety during the day, and I was on Ritalin for ADHD. Those mixture of pills can cause some serious damage in a child. All I wanted to do was sleep. That's it. God. I mean, I've talked to people on Seroquel alone, and that's a dangerous drug by itself at that high dose of 600 to 800 milligrams for a child, teenager. Oh my God. And the funniest part is that if it's safe to give to a 12-year-old at a high dose, I don't see why my father doesn't try it for sleep. If he thinks that this medication was so good to give to me, if my mother was such a good doctor that she knew this was a great sleep med, and it's prescribed for sleep, and that's all I was asking for was help with sleep. I was asking for help with a neurological disorder. I was asking for help with coordination, twitches, stuff like that at some point. At the age of 7, I was asking for help with overdose, and my mother was calling an allergy attack. Ignoring those things caused damage in my body. Oh, a lot of PTSD. My mother and father really caused a lot of anxiety and PTSD in me. And I'm sure I caused a little bit of PTSD with my mother to my nephew. As my mother hits me with a ruler or I'm confused, I'm sure my nephew was like, oh, Zach looks scared and confused. That's going to affect me. And now I'm scared of my grandma. I'm sure that caused other types of damage. Also, other relatives have decided to try to take medication on their own at different occasions. And my father's new wife is right. She's very smart when she says trading medications is not smart. But also, giving your child medication without knowing what his real illness is and without looking or listening to your child, that's even more dangerous. I mean, what my mother did to me was 100 times more dangerous than somebody choosing to take a medication on their own. And you might hear that self medication is bad, and it's true. It can be. But everybody self medicates. If you want to talk about self medicating, oh boy, does my father self medicate with alcohol. I've also seen him take medication over the counter without checking with the doctor. Boy, I mean, I know my father's new wife and my mother both would take opiates or any prescription that they wanted when they wanted it. My mother took my Vicodin whenever she didn't call the doctor. She didn't check if I needed it. No, it was there. She took it. Well, my father's new wife brought in a bunch of drugs that were illegal and belonged to nobody, and she can't sell them. She can't give them away. There's nobody she's allowed to give them to, and there's somebody struggling in the house. So obviously she was planning on using them for herself if she needed them. But no doctor would ever approve somebody to take a dead person's medication whenever they felt like. So again, self-medicating. But there's no problem with that. See, the problem is when you try to blame other people without looking into yourself. Like if let's say that my mother was taking my Vicodin while drinking alcohol. Well, and then she says, "Well, I'm self-medicating by taking a Benadryl at night." Let's say I take 2 Benadryl at night at the age of 16 because I want to sleep and I want to take Benadryl instead of all these crazy pills. Well, they would say, "Zach, that's self-medicating." No, the doctors say you should be on all these pills for sleep. My mother says I should be on all these pills for sleep. My father says that he agrees with the doctor and my mother. So he agrees that I should be on all these pills. So, should I take the 2 Benadryl because these pills are making me sick? Or should I self-medicate with should I self-medicate with the 2 Benadryl because I think these doctors are making me sick? Or should I listen and continue a regimen of medications that, while everybody ignores my screams for help as I'm in pain? Things like that, yes. And when you go to a pharmacy and you pick up a medication without checking with your doctor, you're self-medicating. You're supposed to call your doctor before even taking a Tylenol. But people just go to the pharmacy, pick up a Tylenol, pick up a ibuprofen. There's nothing wrong with that. But see, some people like putting blame on other people. So they see somebody getting a Benadryl or somebody taking a painkiller when they need it. Or maybe they take an Ativan when they're feeling really anxious. Or I've even seen some people take a Ritalin because they have to cram in college. It depends. Are you becoming an addict? Is it an everyday thing? If you drink every day, you're self-medicating. If you use alcohol to fall asleep, you're using drugs to self-medicate. Yes, you are a drug addict who is self-medicating. If you drink every day before bed to sleep, you are a drug addict, and yes, you are self-medicating. But you might be in control of it, and it might be okay for you. They call that maintenance. Like marijuana maintenance is when you smoke marijuana once in a while to treat other conditions like pain or addiction. And it works for some people. Usually the same people that might be what they call dry drunk, or people who might be what they call, uh, that snap just sent the signal through my nervous system. Um, oh God, my nervous system hurts right now. Oh, sorry about that. I'm not trying to think of a word or anything. I'm just having a little problem for a second. Must be getting, well, not that close. It's 6 and 6 for my epilepsy medication, and I take 4 and 4. 4 in the morning, 4 at night now. Hoping they're consolidated into one pill, though. You know, that would be a lot easier. I mean, I was on 3 in the morning, 3 at night, so I'm guessing the next pill they'll be bringing into one pill, hopefully. But for now, they want me to take 4 and 4 until the new prescription gets picked up. Oh. Anyway, so now what is the cause of that illness I'm talking about right now? Well, that would be an overdose at age 7. Yes, I woke up with it, never went away. It's very clear. Teachers were calling me in hallways about it. I was talking to doctors about it. I mean, it was very clear after putting all the stuff together. I mean, it's hard for a child to figure all this out at 6 years old. I mean, you only get one detail. Plus, they were keeping secrets from me. Like, I had no idea there was Social Security involved until my father got in trouble. Yeah, I went to apply for Social Security because everybody told me I was disabled. Physically, I was shaking. My body doesn't look too good, so I should apply for Social Security. So I talked to my DMH worker, and he says he'll help me with it. So I go to fill out the forms, and first we start with food stamps. I send it in. We do a meeting with my father. We let him know that I'm going to be applying for Social Security. And then my father goes, that's going to be a problem. I'm already collecting his Social Security. And they go, you're not allowed to do that. He's almost 20. He's 19, almost 20. And this program he's been living in for over a year requires that he pay rent out of his Social Security, $600 every month. Are you telling me that you've been keeping your son's rent money and you lied on a legal form with this program and you lied to the Department of Health and Human Services and you broke Social Security's guidelines, rules, and regulations, taking your son's money past the point that's legally allowed? Is that where? And they all were witnesses. They said, Zach, you got to sign here and you're going to get all that money back. Or the program's telling me I'm going to get thrown out because of my father. I'm going to lose my housing. Plus, I was supposed to be going to classes that were supposed to help me with my disabilities, help me get housing, and show me how to work with my Social Security, reapply for Social Security on my own, where to go, what to fill out. But I wasn't allowed to go to those classes. You know why? Because my father lied on the form. He said that I'm a worker who collects no Social Security whatsoever, and I'm not on disability. What did my father think that the other kids weren't in the same situation as me? All the 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, all but 3 were on Social Security. They're all in the same boat as me. The only difference is they didn't have fathers and mothers keeping the money for themselves. Now, do I forgive him for it? Of course I do. Of course I forgive him for that. I definitely wouldn't have handed him over the money. I bailed him out. He never had to go to court. I got thrown out of my housing, and he had me come home to take care of his wife, what he wouldn't allow me to do. So obviously, I gave him love and forgiveness. But what I haven't settled with him yet, what he hasn't apologized for, is going back on his word and then trying to act like I am some sucker of his. I got Zach to give me 12 grand back. I was in trouble and Zach bailed me out. All I was supposed to do was make sure that I keep his Social Security going so he doesn't have to die in the woods. He's not able to collect the Social Security, not able to work. He's disabled. His mother just died. I just got him thrown out of his housing. Yeah, and I'm remarrying, and I'm selling the house that he now is staying in, that he lost his owner place because I had to make a choice. So, yeah, that affected me as well. I am more upset at him lying to me and manipulating me and allowing me to get hurt. And also, he wants me to stay quiet and keep his secrets. Also, he wants to make sure I stay in pain and I continue suffering because he doesn't want to take responsibility for what his wife was doing. She left him holding the bag, and he doesn't want to be the one holding the bag. So he's buried the bag in the back and going, it's his own fault, it's his own fault. No, it isn't. I didn't force her to poison me. I didn't force her to give me extra Epicac. I didn't force you guys to move me to Texas, move me to New Mexico, move me to Maine. I didn't ask you guys to lie to the doctors. I didn't ask Patricia to act mental when there was red flags that could have helped me. I didn't ask you guys to ignore your own kids. I mean, people get affected by this, and now I'm supposed to suffer in pain. We all have our own issues. Obviously, you could hear from the beginning of this video. I don't want to put anybody's shit out there, but if you guys are going to try to ruin my name, if people are going to shit on me, if people are going to try to hurt my family, I mean, How about my kids? Who's gonna support my kids? Are you guys gonna support my kids when I'm dead? Huh? What are you guys gonna do after you destroy my family? What? Just sit there? Watch my kids suffer? Watch my wife go homeless? What do you, I mean, really, you think it's okay to do this to another person? Childhood or not? Do you think it's good to let this continue? I mean, all I want is to be a human being. I didn't think that that was much of a big deal. That's all. I mean, I just didn't want somebody to continue hurting me for another 25 years. But you know what? Now, there is no more years, no more days. It is gotta stop, and it is going to stop one way or another. Either they're gonna work with me, and we're gonna be a loving family fixing up the damage that was done by somebody else, or I'll have to fix it on my own to the best of my ability. But a man who doesn't drive, made, crippled, disabled, sober, who's running around, who just lost all their property thanks to their father's ignorance, I don't know. After many head injuries and seizures, I don't know how well my brain will be doing. Especially that when I have an injury and I go to the emergency room, the only way they'll treat me is if my father stops his bullshit. And he won't. I mean, it's all there. It's all permanently in stone now. But it doesn't have to be that way. All he has to do is flap his lips with me, and I get better. Or if that's too hard for him, if he doesn't want the quick way out to take responsibility and walk in there and flap the lips, if it's too scary to maybe have consequences, even though if he teams up with me, there's no consequences. Because the only person that can actually do anything is me. And I try to show him love. I mean, I have not tried to go after him. I'm just asking him. I'm following the Catholic Church, his own Catholic Church. Oh, by the way, my father even wants to keep me from the church. Yes, I was going to the Catholic Church. They told me to try to ask for help, talk to my father, even Michael Phelps. We almost lost him because he was suicidal and had problems, but he asked for help and he got it. My father didn't like me talking about my Catholic Church stuff, so he silenced me. On top of that, I no longer can go to my church because I can't drive and my neurological condition is so bad. Now, I could go to church if I went to the doctors and the doctors got a truthful statement by my father. But because my father wants to continue down this road, I am not able to go to the doctors, get a diagnosis, what means that I am not able to drive, what means I'm not able to get to my church. I wonder what his church would think about trying to do something like this to your son. After 25 years of suffering. I mean, come on. I mean, you can look at the pictures. It's not like I'm making something up or this is something new. No.